Hi, this is Trevor, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today is Wednesday, November 25th, 2015, and I'm continuing in line with many of my previous videos on the tarot. And I thought today I would talk about a particular area of the court cards unto themselves, and that's the knights. And in light with that, oftentimes in a reading, a court card will come up, and that's oftentimes a depiction of the person. But something I like to mention is that is, of course, the person in relation to the person being read. So you might be getting an indication of someone in your life that's being described in a certain way. But that person in themselves might be described quite differently. So we have to always remember that we're seeing the person in relation to the client's energy. And the knights are fascinating because just like in a fairy tale where knights are questing, we will oftentimes manifest a knight energy in our life when we are moving through a lesson or an experience ourselves. Sometimes that's where these can be classified as transitional relationships. Doesn't mean they don't stick around, oftentimes they do. But it's a good idea to be aware of the quest we're on ourselves. So when we can be sort of seeing experiences that are challenging us or that it can involve a sense of really working with somebody, a knight can be a depiction in terms of that. Sometimes the person themselves is as much an individual on a quest. And tarot, of course, is an old system, and it can be a little sexist. So I don't always necessarily see the knights as being male. After all, Queen Elizabeth I was a knight protector, and there's many female energies, and this has nothing to do with orientation that will actually work with the good description of a knight. And I also like to remember that when we're reading about another person, of course, in relation to our own energy, we're seeing ourselves to a degree in relation to that as well. So the reader has to kind of determine how much of what we're working with there has to do with ourselves. We have these four different knights in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, and each one is kind of moving along in a quest with their particular element. And you notice that they're all on horseback, and each one is riding their horse a different way. In the Knight of Cups, the horse is held at close rein. It's kind of moving cautiously. So a Knight of Cups is somebody who's working very much with that feeling level. I sometimes, will kid around a little bit and say, this is just like the energy you see, say in a very romantic, poignant, or poetic story, kind of like a Merchant Ivory film. And Knight of Swords, the horse is leaping into battle. So there's kind of a more opinionated energy. There can be conflict, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. The Knight of Wands is like the rodeo horse. It isn't reined in entirely. This is someone who's really kind of learning how to control the highs and lows of their own energy. So it can be very fiery and feisty stuff. And then the good old Knight of Pentacles, whose horse is standing stock still. And then we see the plowed and furrowed ground in the background. So very hardworking, very down to earth and earthy. But what about when the cards are reversed? I don't always see a reversed card as necessarily being the opposite of something, but it's a different inflection. So perhaps there's too much work, maybe a bit of a workaholic. Maybe there's so much emphasis on challenge and having to win and be competitive that the element is out of whack. Maybe a lot of pointless conflict or opinion, right? Maybe a lot of emotional pining. Right? So those are just some examples of how the inflection can be kind of a little bit different. Actually, I think over time, a reader learns to work with the feeling of the card less than so much it being right side up or upside down. That's just my own approach. So sometimes when I get the question, well, is this person good for me or bad for me? Is this a good guy or a bad guy? Part of why we work with tarot is to kind of understand our own process and what's going on with ourselves and how willing we are to be owning our energy. Right? So each of these is an opportunity to be looking at our own quest, what we are manifesting, what we are finding in our interactions with others. So just some food for thought around the knights. Looking forward to seeing many people actually in the next while as we go into the holiday season. My schedule can be quite challenging, so I try to accommodate as best I can. I always include the link underneath these videos so that you can find information about how to book an appointment with me, and we'll look forward to seeing you soon. Take care. Have a great day. Bye for now.